I am done. My actual journal signatures are complete. I'm not going to do a complete walkthrough now because that will take forever, and I want to get on and get these stitched into a spine. Just a couple of points to note. I've used quite a few paper clips on the sides here. I've got my little hidden paper clips in various places throughout, and I've also got these little dangles on the side here. Let's get this back to some kind of some semblance of order. So you can see these little guys on the side here, and these little guys are quite simply little tags with bulb pins attached to a paper clip, and they've gone on the sides there, and you can see my top is really quite nice and tatty. I've got these hidden paper clips, and I've got a couple of tags sticking out over the top as well. And other than that, I've just gone through, I've added a couple more pockets, and I filled up some of the spaces. And this journal has eaten tags, and it could still eat some more, but I'm leaving it like that for now, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start making the spine and the cover. So first off, I'm going to measure how wide I need my spine to be. Now, if you make a spine, as you may know, if you make a spine too narrow, you'll end up with something that we call gator mouth, where you've got all this width here, but the spine isn't deep enough to take it. Some people like that. It's personal choice. That's fine. I don't want it. So I'm going to measure how much space all my signatures take up. Now, uncompressed, they measure for me 5 centimetres, and compressed they measure 3. So I'm going to go somewhere in the middle, and I'm going to go 4, or I might even go the 5, because I might want to add more to this journal as I go. I've got room in those pockets still for plenty more stuff, but 5 centimetres, that's a 2-inch spine. That's quite wide, but I think I'm going to go for that. And next up, I need a piece of card. This is a piece of Amazon card. I need to mark off, I know this is a straight edge, I need to mark off my 5 centimetre width here and here. And draw me a nice line that I'm going to cut with my nice sharp craft knife. This is going to be my hidden spine, so you won't see the stitches when we finished the actual cover. And next up, and then I'm going to see how long I want this to be. Now, I'm going to be using this for my cover, and this is pulp board. It may be called a different name where you are, but it's the stuff that beer mats are made out of, and I particularly love this stuff because it's got the depth and the bulk of chipboard, but it's so much easier to cut through. It's really nice and light. I really love it. So I'm going to be using this. Now, because I've trimmed down my pages, I never print borderless. I've trimmed down my pages. I know that a sheet of A5 for me of this, I'm in the UK, so obviously if you're in the US, yours is going to be different measurements. I know that this is going to be the right size for me because it's slightly over, and that's what we want. We want a size that's slightly over the size of our journal to enclose it nicely. So I know that's going to work for me. So I can just mark off. Oh, it's absolutely pretty near perfect. I only need to trim a little whisker off the bottom, which is nice. So first of all, I'm going to make myself a template. I haven't cut this straight at the bottom, look at that. So I cut myself a template from a piece of paper. And I'm going to fold this piece of paper in half. So that's my centre line. And I'm going to fold these pieces of paper. I'm going to fold the edges into the middle, and if it's easier we can fold that in half first and then fold our edges into the middle, and these are going to be the lines for our first and third signature to stitch into. This is just, like I say, this is just a template. There we go. So I folded my piece of paper in half and then I folded it in half again. So I've now got this piece of paper that's got my 3 lines on it that I'm going to use as stitch lines, and then I'm going to fold this piece of paper in half this way, and then I want to decide how many stitches I want in my journal. Now, because I've got some little bits, here's one, a case in point, I need to make sure that I catch this. So with a pamphlet I would use 3 stitches. That's not going to be enough, so I'm going to go 5 or 6 with this, which is easy enough because I can just fold my piece of paper up a little on both sides, and that will be where my bottom stitch is going to be. I don't want it too close to the edge, so about kind of here is good. Do that on both sides. We don't need to do any measuring, you see. I love paper folding like this to get my measurements. So that's given us already, that's given us 3 stitches. We've got 1 in the middle and we've got 1 at both ends. So now all we need to do is fold this piece of paper in half like this. And that has given us 5 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we've also got the lines. I can mark these off if I want to now. Where these folds intersect, these are going to be my stitch lines, my little, where I'm going to make my holes in both my spine and my signatures. Let's do it! Right. This is my book. This is my trusty book that gets used for all this jazzmatazz. It's got a padded cover. So I'm going to take my template, place it on top of my piece of card, and I'm going to stick it on with a bulldog clip so it's not going to move about as I'm poking my holes. And I'm going to double check this length against the length of my signatures. Right. So let's go. I'm going to make my holes, and I'm simply going to make a hole for all my little points through the paper and through the card. When I've done that, I can take my template off and turn this over, and I can make those holes a little bit bigger and a little bit better. So now I've got my piece that's going to be my hidden spine that my signatures are sewn into. I can put that to one side, grab my first signature or one of my signatures, tap it all down, get it all nice and flush, and a quick check through just to check that everything is sitting where it should be. I know everything's going to be okay. My only concern is these slightly smaller pages here that are sitting in the middle, but if that's sitting nicely, I feel confident that I'm good to go. So give it a good old tap down, line it up as best you can, open it up in the centre, and bulldog clip one side and bulldog clip the other side, like that. There we go, and we're good to go. I'm going to open my book roughly into the centre. This is an old diary that never really got used. Beautiful old diary. Right, where's my template gone? There it is. So I know that this is a little bit too long for my signature, but it is the right length for my actual cover. So I'm going to pop my signature spine in the spine of my book. I'm going to pop this piece down so that I've got an even amount overlapping the top and the bottom, and that's about right. And then I'm going to make my holes straight through the centre of the entire spine, holding it in place. If you want to bulldog clip that, by all means, go ahead. There we go. That is my first one done. Look at that, looks great. You're going to need about 2.5 lengths of thread for the length of your spine for each of these. Now this is my first signature, so I'm going to stitch that in this first row here. So I'm going to position this. I'm going to start, it doesn't really matter because this is going to be hidden. Let's start at the top. I'm going to come up through the back of my piece of cardboard like this. Give myself a little tail. I think I'll bulldog clip this so I don't accidentally pull it through. And then bring this up through the first hole in my journal, which can be a little bit tricky. There we go. Then I kind of go down through this. Then I'm going to come down through the second hole. My pages have moved a little. There we are. And I'm going to come down through the second hole of my piece of cardboard and pull that nice and tight. And then I'm going to come up through the third hole in my piece of cardboard, back up through that hole in my journal and back down and through this piece of cardboard. It's a little bit of a fiddle and a faff, but oh my goodness, it's going to be so worth it. It's going to be smashing. Back up through the last hole in your cardboard and back up through the last hole in your journal. There, and then I'm going to make sure that's nice and tight. And I'm going to do the same thing in reverse. And it's much easier now because we're attached to the piece of cardboard. There we go. So a nice simple running stitch up and down like this. And then when you get up to there, you can turn your thing over, release your piece of thread. Make sure everything's nice and tight. And tie a nice knot in there. And we're going to repeat that for the other two signatures. So I'll go again. If you're new to this kind of binding, I'm sure it would be helpful. So this is going to form a pocket, but we're going to leave that for now because we've got other things to do. So take my second signature, same thing again, I'm going to tamp it down, make sure all my pages are lying where I want them to. Let's take off these little guys for now. And I'm just checking that any page that I've got that's small, that's sitting inside, is going to get caught by the stitches. That's going to be okay. It's going to be okay just. I'll just check for any more, make sure I haven't got anything in the way. This page is in the middle here. That's going to get caught quite nicely by a couple of stitches. And I think that's all I need to concern myself with. I'm going to take this piece out just so that that doesn't get caught up in anything. And we're good to go. So tap this down again. Open it up to the centre. Get your bulldog clip. Fasten all your pages together. I'm going to centralise my template between the two. So I've got an equal overlap on the top and on the bottom. Pop my spine in the spine of my book, so that's sitting in there really nice and securely. Ditto this template, and then I'm good to make my holes. Is this tag in the way? Let's take my hidden paper clip off. I don't want to go making a hole in that. There we go. As simple as that. Now I need another length of thread. I need to locate my needle and measure off 2.5 lengths of my embroidery thread. And I'm going to come back over to my one stitched in signature here, and I'm going to make this one happen now. So I'm going down through this middle section here. So I'm going to come up through the first hole in my middle section. Where's my little bulldog clip? And keep that nice and secure so I don't have to worry about it, or try and hold it in place as I'm all fingers and thumbs getting this second signature in. Come up through my first hole at the back here, right the way through. And begin to stitch, making sure to go through this central line of holes that you've made here, up through the third. Don't worry, it's not going to be perfectly tight as you do this little bit. You can tighten up in a minute. Just get your needle and get your thread through these holes, and then when you come back up through this last one here, then you can tighten and make sure that everything's sitting nicely. There we go, and you've still got time to tighten up even when you're doing this last little bit here. So you're going to come back up now. There we are, that's nice and tight now. Come back up, make this running stitch in reverse. Sorry, I'm all hands on the video, aren't I? I'm doing my best to show you. So when you've got up to this fourth one, make sure it's all nice and tight. And then you can tie this piece off as well. And the last one, exactly the same. Now that could have been tighter. If you encounter something like that, do not despair. Get yourself a bit of tape. Make sure it's nice and tight. Stretch it out and just pop a bit of tape over the top. And that'll be fine because that's all hidden. We're not seeing that. So you can take your bulldog clips off now. You can take your bulldog clips off now. There we go. Thanks, bulldog clips. And we have got, to all intents and purposes, a finished journal. I don't know if I can show you that on the video properly because I'm quite close to you, aren't I now? There we go. Look, you can see how nicely those spines of the signatures are sitting in our book. And it's a really good width. I'm glad I went for the 5. I went for the depth of spine of my journal when it was uncompressed. I didn't squish it down at all, so it's got lots of room to sit comfortably and also to have more pages added. So this is what we're actually looking like now inside our journal. Fabulous. So the next little job we need to take care of are these centre pages. Now each of these centre pages I'm going to glue down to form a pocket here. So all of this section I'm going to lose. And even though it pains me to lose a little bit of this writing space, I really did max out on the writing space throughout this entire journal. So, you know, I can't complain. And this is what these were designed to do. So we're gluing this section down here. And we're opening this up. We're gluing a little seam at the top and at the bottom. folding these back on themselves so that they form they form a pocket and hide our centre seam of stitching. Not that we need to do that because the stitching is really beautiful, but I just went for that for this journal. Really like it, really love it. That needs dry, glue needs to dry obviously, and this is just a page that I've printed on two sides, one with the lined paper, one with the pattern paper, just to pop in there. And I'm going to make a couple more of those because, like I said, this journal has eaten all my tags, and I had a lot of tags. There's a lot of tags and things in the kit, and I've duplicated just a few. So yeah, it needs a lot, this kit. So there we go. Let's just go through quickly. Amazing, looking fantastic. There's a little piece here that I made from just an offcut of that. I folded it over at the end here, made a little thumb cut, popped a tag in, and that's become a thing. So that was a little scrap that I had left over, and I've got all sorts of stuff going on to the second signature. Now you can see we've got this piece of card down here. I'm absolutely happy with that because I've got this faded edge, but you may like to consider that as you're making your spine. You could cover it with something if you wanted to. You could make sure that you're not using the printed side. But if you are, you know, whatever, it's a junk journal. These things are to be embraced and celebrated. I'm sure this has come from here, and I've lost a little one of these gizmos. Never mind, that's fine for now. This is not what we're doing. I'm just flicking through till I get to my next centre, which is here. I'm going to glue down all of this. And then pop a little seam onto this side. And stick this down. Now there is a slight overlap, so if you wanted to make a little thumb cut, I don't think I'm going to actually, if you wanted to make a little thumb cut, you can make a nice shallow thumb cut there. You can see you've got an overlap of this pocket to this pattern here. There we go. Flick, flick, flick through. Where have you come from, mate? Oh, I've taken some paper clips off the side, haven't I? There we go. It looks so good, so good. And having been faithful to the kit and not used anything else, you can see how vast this kit is. This one is the one we cleverly made use and had a little flip on the other side to hide that, or most of it. Oh, I love that little spread there with the owl and the magnolia tree. There we go. So that's all our centre pockets dealt with. And it looks wonderful. It looks so, so good. I'm very happy with it. Right, we're actually going to move on to the cover now. Now for the cover, you want 2 pieces of your chosen board. You can use Amazon packaging if you want to. You can use chipboard if you want to, or you can get hold of some of this lovely pulp board, the board that's used for making beer mats that I've already said that I love. And you need 2 pieces that are slightly larger than your journal. I'm going to trim these down. They're long enough. I'm just going to take some off the width, and I'm going to mark that off by eye because I don't like measuring things. So I'm just going to trim 2 pieces down so that they're the right size. Let's line this up with my cutting mat so that I don't have to measure. And trim this down. Same with this one. I can place this one over the top of it now. See how easy that is to cut. It's got a 2mm depth. It's got a really good depth, but it's just like you go through it like butter. It's brilliant. I love it, love it, love it. Now then, our spine needs to be the same width as this piece here, and we know that that is 5 centimetres, so I'm actually going to break with tradition and do a bit of measuring. Oh, I could do it on my board actually, couldn't I? I don't need to measure it with a ruler. I'm very excited about this. So I'll line this up with my board. I'm going to go 5 centimetres. And just a whisker wider, just to give me a little bit of wiggle room on the piece of cardboard that's got me signatures. Oh, cutting into my ruler, I hate when I do that. But the stuff itself, look at this board, just go through it like butter. Lovely. If that was chipboard, I'd be cutting through that a few more times yet. Check that out. Absolutely perfect. Absolutely perfect. So now I can start sticking together my cover. Let's lose this. And I have got this way of making covers that I absolutely adore, and that's what I'm going to share with you today. And to do that, I'm going to need my beautiful, beautiful black masking tape. And I'm going to take a strip of black masking tape. I love that noise. I haven't heard it for a while. I haven't done this for a bit. And I'm going to lay this half on and half off my spine, or thereabouts. Turn that over. Then I'm going to stand up the front of my journal, or the back, doesn't matter which way round we want to do it. Stand it up like that. Then I'm going to drop it down. So I've got this nice little gap here. I'm going to bring my piece of masking tape up. And I'm going to do exactly the same thing on the other side with that lovely, lovely, sexy sound of tape. You can do it this way around if you want to. It's a bit more of a fiddle, but you get to see where half is. There we are. It's not an exact science. It doesn't matter if you're not slightly over, because we're going to be matting over the top of this stuff anyway. Put that up nicely. Get it all nicely lined up. It all sitting flush, and then drop it down. You get this lovely, perfect little space that's just exactly what you need for your journal to fold. Right, ordinarily I would tape up the inside here, but I'm not going to do that just now, I don't think. Actually, I will for strength, and then I'll put some more over the top where I need it. So when you're tearing these edges and laying it down here, you're not going to see that torn edge by the time it's all finished, so you don't have to worry about that. Now I'm going to take a real long piece, longer than I need, just by a little bit, and I'm going to place it half on and half off, which is always a little tricky to do. I guess an easy way to do it would be to lay this down on your mat. I know this tape is 1 inch wide. I work in inches and centimetres here, so if I lay that down about 1 centimetre and just a little bit more, lining that up with my mat, I know that I'm going to be about right, don't I? Brilliant. And then bring that down, and what you want to do is you want to scuttle it like this, so that you're getting it nice and tight on that edge. Make a little indent there with your nail or a tool, and then just snip that off. and you're going to do the same at the bottom as well. This is going to look so good when it's finished. So I'm going to line this up with my mat, and know that I've got an inch, which is 2.5 centimetres, so I want to go just over a centimetre, pop it down, that should be about right, and then bring this all up, pull it, and scuttle it down. Only little creases you can squish out with your nail most likely, but you want to get it as good as you can first off. I love this way of making a cover. I've been looking forward to doing this bit ever since we began. Now that's the outside, because I haven't got the little barely visible tears in my tape there. Right, this one, same thing again. Cut it just a little bit longer than you need. I've just invented this ingenious way of making sure I'm half on and half off, which thrills me. Scuttle, scuttle, scuttle. And then you can do exactly the same on these two edges here. I'm not going to go into any bookbinding type folds on this. There really is no need. This takes care of it just beautifully. There we go. And the last little one. Scuttle, scuttle, scuttle. Press, press, press. There we are. And that is the cover. But we obviously haven't finished because we've got some beautiful matting and detailing to take care of. But let's have a little look at how this is all looking inside its new home. That's the front and that's the inside. So my piece of card fits just perfectly in there. I can centralise that, so I've got a little space at the top, a little space at the bottom. Could have gone a little bit wider with that, but that's absolutely fine. That's going to work just beautifully. And look how beautifully my book is looking, and there is a lot of room. There's a lot of room in here for expansion, which is wonderful because I really intend to use this journal, and I'm going to chronicle my daughter in this journal. So I'm going to be using it for a long time, and to be able to get some photos and things in there as well is going to be absolutely fabulous. And you can see how much room I've got to expand there. I've got loads of room. Really, really happy with that. Right, let's have a think about our matting and our decoration for the front and the spine and the insides. So I am ready finally to put this thing together. It's taken me an eternity to decide on what I want to go on the cover, and I'll show you that in a minute. Before I stick this beautiful spine in here, I'm just going to trim off a tiny little bit of end and get it exactly how I want it. That'll do fine. I might as well trim off these excess little bits. And now I'm going to go in with my glue. This is quite a commitment, and I've also got my tape at the ready, and let's grab a couple of bulldog clips as well. But before I glue this in, I'm going to stick a bit of black tape over the end. That'll do. Now I think I'm ready to glue this in. I think I'm procrastinating, so I think I'll crack on with it now. I can't see any reason why I shouldn't. So I'm going to get my big glue. You can use tape for this if you want to. And I'm going to pop lots of glue on here. Some people use tape and glue. because I'm going to be taping over my edges anyway. I don't really mind, but I am going to make sure I get plenty of this beautiful alcohol-based glue. It smells amazing. I love this smell. And then I'm going to stick this thing together. I know that my piece of card is exactly the same width as my spine, so I'm pretty confident in just sticking that in as it is, like that. And I can bulldog clip my top and my bottom, so I get a good grip there. And then on these sides here, I'm going to tape because I want to cover this up. So I'm going to cut myself a piece of tape, a bit longer than I need it. I'm going to have to move my bulldog clips out of the way. And I'm going to get this piece of tape as close in to my signature as I can. Press it down in place and fold this excess piece over. There we are. I've got a good looking finish there. I'm going to do the same to this side. This is also going to help my adhesion, but it's mostly to cover up the card and give me a lovely edge when I come to stick my matting panels, my end papers on. So again, as close as I can get to my signature. Stick this down. I adore this black masking tape. It's got like a crepe-like finish like masking tape has, so it's got a little bit of stretch in it, which is so useful when it comes to working projects. There we go. I've got a beautiful finish. I've got a lovely journal there. All done, all done. Right, let's do the end papers. Now for the end papers, I have chosen these pieces here, and they are beautiful. Up to you whether you go this way round or that way round. We've also got a lovely little pocket to pop on here, a little flip out pocket. You don't have to use it if you don't want to, but that's going to go in here like this. So up to you as to whether you have your peacocks facing inwards or outwards, or indeed you can use, if you want to, a different page. Now when I was deciding what I was going to use for the cover here, I've given you a few extra pages as well. So from page, let's have a look, page 46 is this page here with the peacock. So page 47, page 48, and indeed page 51 are all options for your covers, but you can, if you want to, use a page from in here and trim down one of these lovely fancy pages. Right, I'm going to glue this down after I've sorted out this pocket. Like I say, you don't have to use this pocket if you don't want to. I've reverse printed mine because there's a tag that comes on that page to go in this pocket, and I wanted to have some writing space on there. I've gone 250 gram. I've gone 250 gram for all of these actually, but mostly because I was printing lots of things out because I couldn't make my decision. If you want to go for a more of a paper on these matting panels, then you can. Let's crease that down the centre. I'm going to fold this over. This is going to be the little tag that goes underneath. This folds to make my envelope. Oh, sorry, no, this one. Fold this one as well. And this one becomes the tag that's going to go under here. It's a straight piece and it's a little deeper. So once you've folded over your tags, you can fold this piece over in half like this. I'm going to get my little glue. This piece here has been cut made slightly narrower than this section here to allow for this fold here. So I've already taken care of that for you. You're very, very welcome. This piece is then going to glue under here, and it folds over like this. There we go. Now it does hide that peacock. Let's have a look how it treats that peacock. It also hides that peacock. So up to you. I'm going to go with this one. I'm going to glue this panel here, this little flap. That is then going to glue. I'm going to go central to there. This then folds over and makes our little pocket for that front side. Now I haven't got a pocket for the back. If you want to print this twice, you can make yourself a ghost pocket. Cut a panel from your second piece there, stick that down over the top, and then you've got a ghost pocket on there, which is always nice. Going to thumb cut this. So you've got that nice little wallet. You can put a fold of writing paper in there if you want to. There's room for a few things. And now I can stick this piece down, which is centralise this on my page, on my cover, and stick that down. And there we have our front inner panel done. Now where's my little tag to go in there? And this is the little peacock tag. If I can get it in. That lives in here. I'll put a little bit of ribbon in the top there. So that's the front cover done. The back cover exactly the same. I've got my panel here and I'm just going to glue this down, and it looks beautiful. I just love this peacock image, so precious. There we are. Look at that, it's looking wonderful. Looking so good. I'm very, very pleased with it. Very pleased. Right, let's get the cover in place. Now, the cover I have chosen for mine, you can go a different direction if you want to, are these two beautiful Tree of Life patterns. When I was umming and ahhing about it, I was, oh, do I want a fox? Do I want a hare? I love foxes. I love all the creatures. And then I thought, do you know what? A Tree of Life to encompass it all would probably be really lovely. So I'm choosing to put this one on the front and I'm choosing to put this one on the reverse. I've trimmed them down to suit the size of my journal. So I got them approximately the right size to print out, and then I trimmed down until I had a nice little border on all the sides. Lots of glue on there. I don't want glue splurging out over the edge, if possible. And the moment of truth. I've been more nervous about this bit than I've been about any of it. I have spent so long deciding what my cover is going to be. Oh, look. Really beautiful. Really, really lovely. I'm not going to press that down too hard just now, not until I get the glue off my fingers. There we go. The beauty of this Collal glue as well as smelling like Sharpie pens, which I love, or permanent markers, is that you don't get any buckling in your paper because it's alcohol based. No water content there. So that is the front of my journal. I could not be more delighted, my dears. Let's go and do the reverse one. Just double check that I'm the right size. Might trim that down just slightly at the edges. There we are. Front and back done. And now I'm going to do the Make sure I've got it the right way up. And just check my size before I go sticking it on. Yeah, wonderful. It looks so lovely. And there we are. That is the journal complete with its beautiful covers. Its gorgeous spine that says Flora and Fauna on it. Now there are a couple of little tags in these last couple of pages of your kit. One of them says journal and the other one is just a plain little one. You could have put that on as a little pocket. You could write the name of the recipient on there if you wanted to, and have the little tuck spot there. You can stick this on, and I want to, but also I don't want to. I'm not going to at the minute. I'm going to save that decision for another day. But what I do have here is a beautiful little tassel. If I wanted to, I could pop this down the side. I could glue this onto the inside. A little bit of black tape over there would cover that up, and I'd have a little tassel on the outside. But what I think I'm going to do is pop this tassel onto my little peacock tag that goes in the pocket on the front of my journal. Pop that in there and let that tassel dangle over the front like that. And the other thing I'm going to do is take a piece of black organza ribbon and I'm going to wrap up my journal. I've got a few bits and pieces to sort out on the inside, but I just want to have a look at how understated, simple and yet beautiful this looks with a simple ribbon closure, just like that, only a bit tidier. So there we go, that's it, I'm done. I hope you've enjoyed that series of videos that have taken you right from the beginning of this huge printable kit right to its full completion. I hope you've learnt lots of things along the way. If you haven't completed this journal, I hope you've got lots of new skills and ideas under your belt. If you have completed this journal, I hope you are absolutely delighted with it. I am. I will see you next time.